It's a quick turnaround for your Rockford IceHogs as they complete a back-to-back weekend at BMO Harris Bank Center tonight and welcome in the Iowa Wild. Hello, hockey fans. Joseph Zakrzewski once again with you for tonight's episode of IceHogs Warmup. Coming up on the program, we're going to hear from the coaching staff and assistant Peter Aubry. We're also going to hear from veteran defenseman Ryan Stanton and get you ready for the opening puck drop live at the BMO. Now, tonight's matchup certainly intriguing. IceHogs and Iowa Wild, no strangers to each other. In fact, tonight actually begins 2 in a row between these two clubs as the Hogs will visit the Wild on Wednesday to wrap up their head-to-head season series. But it's not just that. This could potentially be a Calder Cup playoff matchup between the two clubs. So let's take a look at the Central Division standings and see where they both fall coming into tonight. The IceHogs roll into tonight's matchup with a record of 36-27, 4-1 to sit in fourth place of the Central Division. And after a big victory over Manitoba last night, they have that X next to their name in the Central Division standings as they have clinched a spot in the 2022 Calder Cup playoffs. For the Iowa Wild, they have fallen out of the postseason picture. They took on the Texas Stars last night in Des Moines, falling in that contest to drop to a 31-30 4-5 standing. Now, the IceHogs certainly happy to clinch their spot. Now they want to challenge the Milwaukee Admirals for third place in the division, which means that would get them out of the play-in round, that best of 3, move them up to a best of 5. Well, the IceHogs with the victory today can certainly help their cause. The Admirals in action today as well. They're taking on that same Manitoba Moose team the IceHogs just saw early ago, and that will be in Milwaukee here earlier today. But looking back on last night, it was a very special evening for your IceHogs as they would skate away with a 5-3 victory over the Manitoba Moose to clinch their spot in the 2022 Calder Cup playoffs, the 6th time in their team history and the first time since 2018. You got to remember that these two teams, you got to remember that there were no postseasons at all whatsoever in the American Hockey League the last 2 years, so certainly a very special day to celebrate for the IceHogs. They would race out to a 3-0 lead against the Moose in the first period. Manitoba would push back in the second with 2 tallies, make it a 1-score contest. They would also rifle 20 shots on goal. Goaltender Arvid Soderblom, who was fantastic in the hockey game, he had to be sharp to keep the IceHogs out in front. But the Hogs would grab late goals in the second period and an early one in the third en route to the victory. And speaking of Soderblom, he would make 43 saves in the contest. That would tie his third most output. In fact, just the second time in a week that Soderblom had made 43 saves in a performance against the Manitoba Moose. That goes back to last weekend, Saturday, up in Winnipeg. The IceHogs were led by defenseman Jakob Galvas. He would have 2 assists last night, his first 2-assist multi-point performance this year, and they would grab goals from Dmitry Osipov, Andrei Altsbermakian, Josiah Slavin, Carson Gasevich, and Ian Mitchell. And for Altsbermakian, he enters tonight's matchup on a 4-game goal-scoring streak with 4 tallies. Defenseman Wyatt Kalnick would pick up an assist in the contest. He's on a 4-game assist streak with 4 helpers. And Lucas Reichel with an assist on Ian Mitchell's power play goal in the third period. He is tied for Vinny Hinostroza's rookie mark from the 15-16 campaign at 51 points, the most all-time by an IceHogs rookie. Possibly some history could be made if Reichel can set a new mark here this evening against the Wild. For Iowa, they're wrapping up a tiring 3-game and 3-day weekend after back-to-back battles against the Texas Stars in Des Moines on Friday and Saturday. They would drop a tough 1-0 contest on Friday night with the game-winning goal coming with just 3.5 minutes left in the contest. Very similar an evening ago. They would drop that one at 2-1 with the game-winning goal coming with just 6 minutes to play. Some nail-biting affairs that the Wild were in, and you know they're going to be a bit tuckered out coming into tonight. Goaltender Zane McIntyre would earn his 12th straight decision, 33 saves, kept his team close, but would suffer the loss, and forward Kyle Rao would grab the lone goal for Iowa. And with the loss, though, and back-to-back losses, the Wild have fallen out of a playoff spot and entered tonight with a chip on their shoulder. Iowa just 2 wins in their last 6 games, going 2-3-0-1. They have a trio of players that lead this club in overall points. We talked about Kyle Rao with the big performance last night. He, Mason Shaw, and Marco Rossi tied for the team lead with 51 points. For Rao, he leads the club with 23 goals. Rossi and Shaw on the other side, they each have 33 assists. In the head-to-head meeting tonight is the 11th of 12 get-togethers between the two clubs and the first of back-to-back, essentially, between the IceHogs and the Wild. They will close out their season series on Wednesday in Des Moines. The IceHogs a 3-4-0-3 head-to-head record against their longtime Central Division foes, and these two have been very close contests. 6 of these meetings have been decided by 1 tally, 5 of which have needed overtime or a shootout. Let's take a look at the Lou Backroad Automall 3 keys to the contest for your Rockford IceHogs. And key number 1 is to catch Iowa flat-footed with a hot start. Again, the Wild finishing up 3 games in 3 days with the travel last night, having to come out to the state line. So the IceHogs want to jump on them early, very similar to what they did against Manitoba last night with those 3 tallies in the first period. And with that, too, they just don't want to have it be the start, but also be a relentless attack. That is key number 2, is to keep their foot on the gas pedal. The IceHogs let up a little bit in the second period last night. That allowed Manitoba to creep back in, make it a one-score contest, but the Hogs with those goals late in the second and early in the third able to pull away and regain some momentum. And key number 3 is to manage emotions. You can expect this Iowa team to have that chip on their shoulder after falling out of a playoff spot, but also they're one of the most penalized teams in the American Hockey League, if not the most, so the IceHogs need to keep their cool and stay out of the penalty box, manage their emotions against the Wild team that's going to scrap and claw to try and get underneath the IceHogs skin and hopefully generate some chances on the power play. Key Central Division standings points up for grabs for both the IceHogs and Iowa Wild tonight. Hogs looking to defend home ice at BMO-Harris Bank Center and wrap up their back-to-back weekend here in the State Line community. Well, coming up on the program, we're going to hear from assistant coach Peter Aubry, also veteran defenseman Ryan Stanton, and come back live to the BMO and get you ready for the opening puck drop as well. So stay tuned for more IceHogs Warm-Up.